I think another unique test that we have in there you don't see, and I think is sometimes almost a misnomer or like a caution, so to speak, on knee rehab is the step down test. And for us, the step down test is defined as taking their absolute inseam measurement, where they stand on one leg, they pull the other knee to their chest, and you measure from the top leg's heel, bottom of the foot, all the way down to the floor. That's how high the box is that they have to step down from without putting any weight into the traveling leg and then bring themselves back out of. That's kind of like your pistol squat. You know, it's like the pistol squat for some reason has this like taboo connotation with it for anyone that's ever experienced a knee reconstruction or
flexion past 90.
No knee flexion past 90, as if that's going to work when you cut, you know? So, but the single leg step down test, I know for a fact when I test someone at 6 months, I'm like, this is the one that's going to hold you back. That and the hurdle test and probably the sled push to fatigue. But for those listening, if you work in a space that's really small and you want the best bang for your buck, honestly, if you can get a really high box and have them start at the top, lower themselves as far down as they can possibly go and measure it to their absolute inseam, then that's going to tell you everything you need to know as far as their confidence and their control on one leg, which is where sports happen.
Yeah, I'll say that about strength, that attacks strength. And I think, for anyone listening who's had a horrible knee injury or God forbid, an ACL injury or reconstruction, when you start running, if you have a lopsided gait, if you look like shit doing it, you probably aren't strong enough. And I found that the majority of people that I've coached on the rehab process, if they're doing well with that test, if they're on pace to pass that test somewhere in that 6 to 9 month range, jogging's pretty easy. Running's pretty easy. You don't really have to coach much on, we're going to start cutting. No big deal. Go ahead and touch that cone. Come right back to me. You're going to do it fine. But if you have a strength deficit, if when you do that test, you're only 30% of what your other leg is, running looks like shit. Good luck coaching it.
And it checks a ton of boxes, right? So that deep squat is dorsiflexion out of the ankle in a closed chain position. It's deep knee bend. So we've got hip pass parallel, requiring the quad and the hips to fire very strongly there. I think the other thing we talked about extension on a previous episode, and extension is kind of the problem early on as we're getting more to this return to sport. It's flexion, right? Lack of flexion is what that kind of like loppy gait starts to look like, as they can't flex all the way as they're coming back through that swing phase, swinging through. That leg is a little bit straighter, there's a lot more drag on it, so that starts to change their gait pattern significantly. So extension is like the early problem, and flexion is like the performance problem.
Yeah, it just kills me though, because so many people focus on cute drills. When if you hit a home run with some great, good old-fashioned stability holds, good healthy movement, and load that limb, then really it all doesn't really matter. They look good.
What was the quote? Be savagely good at the basics. Was it Mark Verstegen with Exos? Was harping on that. I absolutely love that quote because that's how I live my life. Like very minimal options, and just like you stick with consistency and you know what works, and it's tried and true. And so, 100%. Like just do the basic things really well, honestly.